One of the most common questions that most of the Buddhist people ask from Buddhist monks is that they ask, I did this action, is it a sin? And they say, like, if I did this action, if I do this, will it be a sin? So it turns out that sin is a big concern. People have a big concern about sin. So from today's video, we're going to be discussing about the perspective of sin according to Buddhism. Do and should Buddhists believe in sin? So first of all, before understanding do and should Buddhists believe in sin, we must understand what sin is. The word sin was originated from Old English word sin, which spelled as S-Y-N-N. And it also has the roots of this Old Norse word synd, S-Y-N-D. Collectively, the word sin describes or defines the transgression of the divine law. That means going against divine law. Especially in Christianity and most of the monotheistic religions, sin is often understood as going against the divine commandments, right? There is an all-powerful, almighty, and all-knowing deity and God, and this God makes these commandments and laws, and if someone goes against these, and if someone goes against these laws and break those laws, that person is called a sinner. And the people who commit sins, right, the people who do sins, they will be punished by the Almighty God, right? That is the common framework of sin according to the monotheistic religions. Now let's turn into the Buddhism, the perspective about sin according to Buddhism. Well, in Buddhism, the word sin is not used. There is no any place that Buddha used the word sin. Because sin requires an all-powerful, almighty deity, right? As there is no statement of all-powerful, almighty deity, and there is no any involvement of deities, all-powerful deity in Buddhism, the morality according to Buddhism is governed by, not by the sin, but by the karma. Karma can be understood as the natural law of cause and effect, right? It is something like gravity. Like if you throw something into air, because there is gravity, it will eventually fall down as a result of throwing that, as a result of the gravity, right? In the same way, the Buddha explains, if you do something with evil intentions and negative intentions like hatred, anger, delusion, and greed, these intentions, right? The actions that were led by these intentions will lead to negative consequences, because in the beginning, the cause and the intention was negative. If the cause is negative, then the consequence is negative. And if some actions were led by positive intentions like compassion and kindness and empathy and wisdom, these actions will lead to positive consequences, right? So it's simply like this. If you plant a seed, right, you will get the fruits according to that seed. Let's say you plant a mango seed, you will get mangoes, right? You plant a grape seed, you will get grapes. In the same way, the Buddha says, if you do the things with evil intentions, right, hatred, anger, delusion, the suffering follows that person. And if someone does actions with positive intentions, kindness and compassion, wisdom, then the happiness will follow. So it is simply how the world works, how the universe works. Okay, so the karma is always, we need to understand, karma is not just the action, karma is the intention behind our action. Okay, so according to the law of karma, when a person do certain kind of actions with certain kind of intentions, these kind of actions will lead to the consequences that eventually that person will experience, right? And one of the major differences between sin and karma is that in sin, it requires the forgiveness from a deity, forgiveness from the divine, right? In karma, karma is something that you must work through yourself. And there is no any statement of any concept of being forgiven by a deity in karma, right? Instead, you must take the responsibility of your own actions and you must work through yourself and change your behavior. So that is how we understood the karma. So then you may ask, will the word sin applies to Buddhism? In the sense of this monotheistic religious meaning, it does not apply. So we need to understand the moral ethic. The morality according to Buddhism is governed by the actions, the intentional actions of each and every individual. So this is the main explanation about the karma and sin according to Buddhism. So I hope you got some light about the sin and the karma. So I wish you all happiness and peacefulness and good health. Namo Buddhaya. The Buddha once said, "He who sits alone, lies down alone, walks alone, in diligent practice, and alone tames himself, should find delight in living in the forest." Living alone, being alone, can be scary for many people these days. Oftenly, our society portrays a successful life, a happier life, a good life, as a life where it is surrounded by people, surrounded by things. But there's a reason why almost all the spiritual practices, almost all the spiritual pathways praise and promote this living alone, life in the place of a solitude practice, a solitude life. And that is why almost all the religious leaders had to solitude themselves from these hassles and bustles of this society and go to these quiet places and find the liberation and find what they were looking for. Same went with the Supreme Buddha. Before he became the Buddha, he was a prince. He was living in a palace. He was indulging himself with this sensual pleasure. And then he understood, indulging in this sensual pleasure doesn't help me to find what I'm looking for. So what he did was he left the palace and he went from one forest to another, meditating, finding this peace, this ultimate peace, right? So living alone can be a blessing. It is a blessing when it is converted to a blessing, right? But living alone can be a curse as well for many people. That is why people most of the time they are scary. They're afraid of living alone, right? Most of the time people come to me and say, I'm lonely, I'm living alone, I'm living by myself, but I feel so much lonely, so much negative thoughts coming into my mind. What should I do? That is what happens when you turn this loneliness into a curse. Trust me, it all depends on how you think and how you use this time. I will tell you a story. Prince Siddhartha, the Buddha, left the palace and he went to a forest. Although he went to a forest, there were 5 monks who was waiting for him to come to the forest. There were 5 monks who were helping Prince Siddhartha, the Buddha, with the meditation before his awakening. And then these 5 monks had this idea that only way to find the liberation is by giving this tortures and doing these hard meditations and harsh meditations and extreme meditations. So we call it Atta Kilamatthana Yoga, which we can translate into English as self-mortification, right? Now, Prince Siddhartha left one extreme when he left the palace. That extreme is, the Buddha described this as the extreme of sensual pleasures, indulging in the sensual pleasures. That was one extreme. And then Prince Siddhartha came to the other extreme where he practiced this self-mortification, giving these extreme and harsh meditations to the body. And then those 5 monks, they believed that this is the only way for the liberation. So Prince Siddhartha was practicing these meditations for 6 years. And finally he understood This extreme, being in this extreme, doesn't help me either. So then he found the middle path, the middle way, and that is to live a spiritual life by balancing his material and spiritual life both, right? And that is why after that decision, he decided to take some food to his body. After a long time he had taken some food to his body, he grabbed his alms bowl and went on begging alms and find some food and had it. Now all those 5 monks had a lot of expectations on Prince Siddhartha. And then they saw this incident, and then they became disappointed. They said, "Oh, what a disappointment. We believed him. We had a lot of expectations on him. But look what now happened. He's taking food. Maybe soon he will go back to his palace and he will live a normal life again. So the best decision is to leave him." So what happened? All these 5 monks left Prince Siddhartha. And after this alms round, he came back to the forest, and he saw everyone had left. No one was there. Prince Siddhartha was alone. Then he found this perfect environment, perfect place to be focused more into himself. That was because he was all alone, right? He got the opportunity to be by himself, right? Focus more into himself. And one day he sat under the Bodhi tree and he became awakened. He became enlightened, right? So this solitude, when it is turned to, when it is used in the correct way, it can be a blessing for you, right? And the same solitude can be turned into a curse as well, right? Most of the people, they complain me about the loneliness. I always say to them, when you're lonely, your thought process generates a certain energy within you, right? And that can be negative. Now, let's say you are in this negative energy environment and a negative energy thought process. You all know in science we learn about, according to science, it says that energy cannot be produced or destroyed. Now you have your energy within you, but it is negative, right? Now you can't destroy this negative energy, right? What we are trying in this whole life is to destroy this negative energy. Well, we can't do that. The only thing that we can do is to convert this negative energy, drive this negative energy to something positive, right? So how can we drive this loneliness, this energy to something positive? One of the biggest reasons why people feel lonely is because they lack an aim, a goal to their life. If they have a goal and aim that they should work on, if they have a system that they should work on, then they don't feel that much lonely because they have something to do. They have something to engage with it, right? So this can go either. People can have either material goals or spiritual goals, but everyone must have these spiritual goals within themselves, no matter what life they are coming from, right? Because finally, there will be a time in all of our lives that we come to this lonely place. One day we have to be by ourselves with no one else around us. Right? At that time, if we don't have any quality, any spiritual quality that we have practiced within us, we'll start feeling lonely again and again. And it will start to build up this negative energy within us. Okay? And sometimes we can be too late for that to make it correct. So the best thing is to learn how to convert this negative energy to something positive, right? To do that, you have to have a goal and an aim for yourself, to yourself. Always ask from yourself, what should I do in my life? Who should I become in my life? What should I build up? What qualities should I work on in my life? If you found, we will always find some qualities that we should work on, right? Some mistakes that we have, some weaknesses within us. if we can work on those weaknesses and make it correct, that time will help you to be more successful, more productive, right? More happy and a more peaceful person. But to do that, what do you need? You need time, right? You need time to be focused on yourself. And what gives you the best time to be focused on yourself is the time when you are all alone, right? And that is why I always say for people, have a time during the day only for yourself, a separate time. Probably you can call it, people call it me time. Okay, that's a good thing. Having a me time for yourself during the day is essential. Okay, so I would say as a practical thing, apply it to your life. That is to have a separate, at least 15 minutes. It's okay. No matter how much you spend the time, but if it is for yourself, that is helpful, right? At least spend a 15 minutes of time, right? Sitting down, being by yourself, all alone, right? Not with your mobile phones, not with your Netflix account, not with your movies or anything. Just be by yourself, right? And then learn how to be with your own thoughts, right? Then only we can be more focused to ourselves, right? So I hope you got some idea about how to convert this loneliness into the solitude. So apply this little practice to your life and enjoy the solitude in your life. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. Today, I'm going to answer a question from the comment section. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I came across this comment asking, how can we make correct decisions in our life? How can we make correct choices in our life? Well, to learn about this, let's take a look at a sutta from the Buddha's teachings. Okay, there's a sutta named Ambalattika Rahulovada Sutta. In that sutta, Buddha advises monk Rahula. Buddha asks from monk Rahula, Rahula, what do you think about this? What is the purpose of the mirror? Then monk Rahula says, the purpose of the mirror is to check our reflection, sir. Then the Buddha says, same like that, whenever you are going to do anything from your body, from your mind, from your words, you have to do it after repeatedly checking on it. Okay, you have to be mindful and you have to think about it, you have to check it, and then after that you have to do it. Then in that sutta, Buddha further explains how to repeatedly check our actions. Buddha says, whenever you're going to do anything from your body, let's say you're going to do something from your body, okay? Then you have to think like this. Buddha says, is this deed that I'm going to do now hurts myself? Is it going to hurt myself? Or is it going to hurt others, other people around me? And the Buddha says, you have to think that is it going to hurt both of us, for me and for the others? Okay? And then the Buddha says that you have to think that is it a skillful thing or a good thing or a wholesome thing or an unwholesome thing? Does it give happiness to my life? Does it bring happiness and mental serenity and calmness to my life? Then the Buddha says that if you find that action that you're going to do is unskillful and it hurts for yourself and to the others, and it is unskillful and it brings suffering to your life, then you should, by all means, you should not do it. Okay? So that is a bad choice. That means that you are going to make a bad choice. Okay? Then the Buddha says, if you find the action that you're going to perform in your life, okay, if you're going to perform an action which is good, which brings the happiness to your life, which makes the happiness and which benefits for you and for the others and both of you, if it is skillful, then by all means you have to do it. Now, what does Buddha means in this advice? Buddha says That means you have to, before you are going to do anything from your body, from your mind, from your words, you have to be mindful. You have to think, what am I going to do now? Right? Is it good or bad? Is it wholesome or unwholesome? You have to think about the consequences of your choices. If you are aware of the consequences of your choices, then you will make good choices. Okay? Most of the time, the reason why we are making bad decisions and bad choices is we are not aware of the consequences of that action. And we are not mindful about what we are doing now. So, in your life, before taking any decision, just pause, take a rest, and pause and think, hey, what I'm going to do now, is it beneficial for myself? And is it beneficial for others? Okay? And does it hurt myself? Does it hurt others? Okay? When you think about that, you can make correct decisions. Okay? And you have to be brave enough to choose the harder path, difficult path, because making correct decisions and doing good things is not an easy task. It is always difficult. Although it is difficult, if you practice it, if you constantly do it, no matter what happens, you can bring the happiness to your life. So the best thing to do to make correct decision is to pause first, okay, and think about it, repeatedly check on it, and be mindful and consider whether it is going to be beneficial for my life or to the others, and then make correct decisions. That is how we make good choices and correct decisions in our life. So that is what I have to share in this video. So I wish you all, may all of you be happy and safe forever. Namo Buddhaya. When life hits you hard and when you are in that dark place, sometimes we make excuses saying that this is my destiny, this is my fate, and this is my bad luck, and this is my karma. Well, what if I told you not everything that happens in your life is your bad luck? It is not always according to your destiny or fate. There are certain things that we can do to change our destiny and fate. Okay, so let's discuss about it in this video. Now, some of you have been asked in the comment section that is everything that happens in life is predetermined or due to karma? Okay, so I'm going to give you the answer for this question. Before giving the answer to this question, let's look at how Buddha taught about this perspective. The Buddha says, those who hold on to the idea of everything that happens, every experience that happens in our life is predetermined, whether it is good, bad, or neutral, that every feeling, every experience in life is predetermined or is due to bad karma or karma that is in the past. That perspective, that weave leads to inactivity, or that weave make that person a lazy person. So the Buddha says, just because this is your bad luck or destiny or karma, you should give up trying. The Buddha never says like that. The Buddha says, always try something to make your life a better one. Okay? The Buddha says, there are certain things that can be done to change our destiny. Okay? Now, so many of you believe that destiny cannot be changed. Well, it's wrong. Destiny can be changed according to the choices that we make right here, right now. So that is why it is very important to remember that not everything that is happening in our life, whether it is good or bad or neutral, is always due to bad karma. Okay? There are certain phenomena and there are certain things and processes that happens in our life out of this concept of destiny. Okay? Let's say you're trying to go to work, and you're getting ready to go to work, and all of a sudden there will be a huge rain. Okay, now that rain is due to bad karma? No, that is a phenomena, and that is a process that happens in this environment. Well, rather than complaining about this bad karma, rather than complaining about our destiny, why can't we choose to do something about it? Why can't we try to change the situation? If we can change the situation, then definitely we can do it. That is why there's a great saying that says, if you have a problem in your life, okay, if you can do something about that problem to change that problem or make it a better one, okay, come out of that problem, then you should not worry about it, because certainly you can do something about it. Okay, and there are certain problems that appears in your mind and in your life that you cannot do anything about it. Well, if you cannot do anything about it, we should not worry about it. Okay, so that is why always remember, karma is a bigger part in our life. It plays a bigger role in our life, but we can change certain things. Okay, we can change our destiny by choosing to make correct choices in this present moment. So that is why what I have to share in this video today: never ever believe that your destiny cannot be changed. You can choose to do it by making correct choices. Work hard and do not ever give up in your life. Namo Buddhaya. The nature of our life is we do not know what is going to happen in the next moment. Life is unpredictable. Life is mysterious, and that is what makes the life more and more interesting. No matter how good you are, no matter how talented you are, there are some times, and there will be some times, that things won't go in your way. Life will give you hard kicks. Life will give you tough lessons. I know in those times we all feel like giving up. We all feel like quitting what we are doing. But you have to remember one thing. Everything that is in life is impermanent. Nothing is permanent. Not even your pains, not even your problems, not even the troubles that you go through today. It is going to change one day. Keep that in your mind and believe in it. This is to everyone who is going through tough times in your life. Please do not ever quit. Don't give up, because the pain you go through today, the troubles you face today, the problems you face today is just a chapter in your life story. It's just a page in your life story. It's not your whole life story. Remember this. If you were to tell your life story in front of thousands and thousands of people after one day you become successful, if you were to tell a nice and a simple and a soft story, no one will be inspired with that story. The more you face troubles, the more you face problems in your life, the more tough your life becomes, your life story will be more interesting. And one day your life story can be a survival guide for someone's in out there. Remember this. So whenever you're feeling down, whenever you're feeling like giving up, whenever you face problems, I need one thing for you to do. Go out and help someone. This is not something that you hear oftenly. Go out and help someone when they feel down. Okay, give a helping hand to someone when they are feeling troubles and when they go through tough times in your life, because you have to believe that what you give is what you get, right? Even though you are going through tough times in your life, you must be willing to help others, because that gives the happiness, right? The more you face troubles, you can understand how others feels like it to go through tough times. Okay, so when you feel down, always try to help someone. I know how it feels like to constantly fail, and I know how it feels like to constantly fall and be unsuccessful, because I have been through that situation. Okay, so help someone, help people, right? And also do not ever give up. Sometimes you have to be patient, because things get time to work out. Okay, things take times to get better. Okay, remember, great things take time to be successful. Okay, do not believe in quick and instant results, because we are so used to this instant world. Because in this instant world, we need everything instant. Okay, this world is built up to give you everything instantly. The outer sources, when you log on to social media, it comes instantly. You can take something instantly. You can know about something instantly. You can download something instantly. But in real life situations, things are not instant. It takes time. Successfulness takes time, right? Happiness, it takes time. Peacefulness takes time. Relationships to build up, it takes time. Nothing is instant in real life. You have to wait. You have to be patient. So in those times, we feel anxious and worried, right? We feel stressed. But remember, when you feel stressed, when you're tired, it is okay to rest. But it is not okay to quit. Because as long as we live, as long as we survive on this earth, as long as we have our lives, we can have a chance to be successful. We can be better at what we are doing. So this is to everyone who is going through tough times in your life. Believe that one day you're going to be happy. One day you're going to be proud about yourself if you focus on yourself and if you work on yourself. So keep in your mind, no matter how tough the situation is, never ever give up. Keep moving forward. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. Do you know how amazing your mind can serve for you if you know how to control and master your thoughts? And that is why they say that mind is the best servant if you know how to master your thoughts, right? But if you let your mind to become your master, you will end up nothing but as a slave of it. So how can we control our mind? How can we deal with these negative thoughts? Now, so many people think that they can remove a negative thought and plant a positive thought inside it. But in reality, you will never be able to remove a thought from your mind by force, right? Go ahead and do it, right? You will never be able to do that. The more you try, the more you use the force to remove a thought or forget it, the more it will come back to you and haunt you. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you a simple and a practical way to use the energy of that negative thought to drive it into a more positive state of our mind by simply asking these 5 questions from yourself, right? These questions will help you to come into this present moment, and it will encourage you to cultivate more wholesome qualities and wholesome thoughts inside your mind, okay? But before starting, I have to remember, none of these practices and none of these things are easy. But with the time, if you keep on practicing it, right? If you stick into the process and if you keep on doing it, it will be very easy for you to do that, okay? And once you become used to it, and once you get used to that, it is very easy to deal with negative thoughts in your mind, and it is very easy to control your mind. So let's dive in. The first question that you have to ask from yourself is, what are the thoughts that keep me away from peace? What are the thoughts that steal my peacefulness inside me? When you ask this question from yourself, you can go through the weaknesses of yourself, right? Because the weaknesses are different from one person to another. For someone, the thought that steals their peacefulness is the anger. For another person, it is the jealousy. For another person, it is the procrastination or the laziness, okay? So when you ask from yourself, what makes me disturbed? Okay, what steals my peacefulness? Then you will have a good understanding about what are the weaknesses inside you. Once you realize what are the weaknesses inside you, okay, what thought pattern steals your peacefulness, then it is very easy for you to deal with that negative state of your mind. Okay, so ask from yourself, what steals my peacefulness? And have a good understanding about it. The second question that you can ask from yourself is, what am I thinking right now? This is one of the best questions that you can ask from yourself to bring your mind to this current and present moment, okay? To have a good understanding about the current situation of your mind. Because most of the time, our mind lives in either it is in past or it is in the future. It is hardly our mind lives in this present moment. So once you ask this question, what am I thinking now? Ask this question as much as possible from yourself. What am I thinking now? What am I doing now? When you ask from yourself that, it comes, your awareness comes into this present moment. Okay? Because most of the time, our awareness travels from one arena to another. Maybe it is in the past, maybe it is in the future. It hardly comes to this present moment. Once you come into this present moment, it is very easy for you to solve the problem because you know what is going inside. Okay, when you ask from yourself that question, you can come up with so many answers. Okay, ask it from yourself and you will come up with these answers like, my mind is in anger now, right? I'm at stress now. I'm in a problem. I'm thinking about something. I'm worrying about something. Okay, once you identify that, right? Once you catch your thought, it is very easy to deal with it. Now you came to this present moment and you identify the thought. Now you have to ask the third question. The third question is this thought pattern helpful for me? Right? When you ask this question from yourself, you dive into that problem and you started to think the downside of that negative state. For an example, if you're in anger, if you ask from yourself, is this anger really gonna help me? Is it going to help me? Then you will come up with the answer, no, it is not going to help me. It only hurts me and the other person, right? It will lead to many problems. When you ask that question from yourself, it gives you the chance to think about the disadvantages and the downside of your thought patterns. The more you realize the disadvantages of your thought patterns, it is very easy to stay out of it because you know that it is going to hurt. Because most of the time, we do things and we think without realizing and without thinking about the disadvantages of it. And that is why it is the best thing to ask from yourself that, is it really going to help me? Now you identified your state of your mind. Now you came to this present moment. Now you know that it is not going to help you. As the next question, now you can ask from yourself, what is the best thing to do instead of staying in this negative state, right? For an example, if you're in anger, ask from yourself, what is the best thing to do instead of staying in anger? Now, what should I do now? Then you will come up with the answer that I should forgive people. I should let go of this anger. You know, if I need to be at peace, right? If I need to find the peacefulness inside my mind, then I need to let go of this anger. Okay, I need to remove it. Now you come up with a solution. Now the best part is, the most amazing thing is, every one of us know what is good and bad. We know what to do and what not to do. Okay? Now for an example, let's say, now we know that too much sugar is bad for our health. But what we do, when we are going to make a teacup, we just pour some extra sugar into it. We put some extra sugar into it. We know it is bad, right? Without considering about it is bad, we do it. And that is why the correct thing that you can do is think about, what is the best thing that I can do now, right? Is it to forgive that people? Is it to let go of that jealousness? Is it to let go of that laziness and continue to work, right? When you think about that, you come up with a solution from yourself, okay? You find the solution through yourself. So ask this question from yourself, then what is the best thing that I can do to stay away from this negative state of my mind? Now you came up with a solution for your problem. Now what you have to do is to think about the benefits of cultivating this positive state of your mind, okay? Try to think about the benefits of forgiving. Try to think about the benefits of staying away from jealousiness. Try to think about the staying away from laziness and getting to work, okay? Once you do that, you will come up with the benefits of it. You will find the reward of it. The more you see the benefits of something, the more you will tend to be in that state, okay? Because you know that you're going to get something good into your life. So try to ask from yourself, what are the benefits that I'm going to get by cultivating these wholesome thoughts? That is the fourth one. So now you ask all the questions from yourself, right? Now you know what to do and you know the benefits of it, right? Now there's only one thing that you have to do, and that is to take action. Go ahead and do it, right? Do the wholesome things and cultivate more wholesome qualities to your mind. But remember, none of these things are easy to our life, okay? It is very difficult. We have to try hard. We will fail when we are doing these things. But one thing that we have to do is we have to keep on doing it, whether we fail or not, okay? Once you do it continuously, okay? Once you maintain that consistency, you will be good at it. And it will be a part of your life, right? So that is how we deal with our mind. That is how we deal with the negative states of mind. So practice this and see it will work for you. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. Do you know why we need to be so serious and we need to be wise when we choose friends? Now, the reason is the friends and the people who we choose to associate can shape our character. They can affect in many ways in our life. Okay, so that is why we need to be very serious and very wise when we let people into our life. Okay, because there's a saying that goes like this: you become who you choose to associate with. Okay, you become like the people around you're surrounding with. So that is why we need to find a true friend and good friends to associate. But the thing is, it is very hard to find a true friend. Okay? How can we find a true friend? What are the signs? Well, the Buddha taught there are 7 signs of a true friend. Buddha taught this in a sutta named Mitta Sutta in Anguttara Nikaya, Book of 7. The Buddha says there are 7 signs of a true friend. The first sign is, the Buddha says, he gives what is hard to give. What do you mean by that? Giving what is hard to give is not about material gifts, okay? It is not about giving the gifts and the presents that you like, okay? A true friend will give you his time, his or her time, the valuable thing, the most valuable thing in our life. The time, the dedication, listening, helping hand, and care and kindness. These are the most valuable things, and these are the most hardest thing that people find to give to other people. Okay? So a true friend will never be shy or never think twice to dedicate his time and his effort and his dedication towards your success. Okay? So the Buddha says the first sign of a true friend is he gives what is hard to give. The second sign is, the Buddha says, he does what is hard to do. Now, what do you mean by that? It means a true friend will always step out of his comfort zone to help you. Okay? He will do what he finds hard to do for your own benefit. Okay? That is all about dedication. That is all about sacrifice. Okay? A true friend will always be there for you, no matter how hard he or she finds it.
Okay, so a true friend will do what is hard to do. The third sign is, the Buddha says, he endures what is hard to endure. Okay, no matter how hard his life become, or no matter how hard her lives become, they will endure all the difficulties and tough times, and they will be there for you. Okay, they will stand with you, and they will face those tough times together. Okay, so these are all things about dedication of a true friend. Okay, purely, they are pure in their heart, and they are always willing to help you. So this is all about dedication and sacrifice. So that is why the Buddha said, a true friend will endure what is hard to endure. The fourth sign is, I'd like to put fourth sign and the fifth sign together because it is all about the trust. The Buddha says, a true friend will protect your secrets. He will never reveal your secrets to anyone. And also, a true friend will reveal his secrets or her secrets to you. That means a true friend is trustworthy. You can trust him or her, and they will trust you also. So a true friend is a friend who is trustworthy. And the next sign is, the Buddha says, a true friend is a friend who stands with you when you face tough times in your life. Okay, when you hit misfortune, when the life strikes you with misfortune, and when you hit the rock bottom in your life, a true friend will never abandon you. He or she will be there with you always, facing the tough times together. Okay, lending their helping hand, caring for you, and showing their kindness. Now, this is one of the best tests to find that your friend is a true friend or not. Okay, because there are so many people who claim them to be the friends, but when we hit the misfortune, when we have troubles in our life, they're gone. Okay, so a true friend will be there for you, be there with you no matter what happens in your life, even in your good days and even in your bad days. They will be there with you. And the final sign is, the Buddha says, when you hit misfortune and when you have tough times in your life, a true friend will never look down on you. Okay, they will never disgrace you, they will never disrespect you. Okay, they will always protect your personality. Okay, they have the respect in their heart for you, and also they will be honest with you always. Okay, one of the best signs of a true friend is they will become honest. Okay, they will say what is wrong as wrong, and they will say what is right as right. Okay, even though the truth will hurt you. Okay, so they're not that people who are like cheering you up always, right? Trying to keep you happy all the time and saying what is bad as good and good as bad. Okay, so remember, a true friend will never look down on you, and they will be honest with you. So these are the signs of a true friend. Okay, now after learning all these signs, then you will come up with this thought that, well, it is very hard to find a true friend. It is very difficult to find a true friend. You can tell me like, oh, it is very easy for you to say that these are the signs of a true friend, but it is difficult to find. I know, right? People with these characteristics and people with these signs are very rare. That is what makes them exceptional. That is what makes them so much interesting. And that is what makes them a true friend. Okay? Right, let's say you cannot find such a friend around you. Okay, maybe you cannot find. Okay, there are some instances like that. So what can you do? Well, there's one thing that you can do, and that is to build up these 7 qualities within yourself and become a true friend to people around you. Okay, once you create those qualities within you, you create a potential for another true friend to be attracted to you. Okay, because that is the nature of this world. Okay, the nature of this world is the birds of feather flock together. That means same things get together. People with same qualities, they get together. Okay, so one thing that you can do is, if you did not find a true friend, be a true friend to people. Okay, so learn these signs and identify who is a true friend is, and be with them. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to today's video. Today, in this video, I'm going to discuss about a simple question that most of the people ask from Buddhist monks. And the question is very simple. It is, what is Buddhism? It seems to be a simple question, but it is very complicated when you're trying to give an answer for this question. So let's try to find an answer for this question today. So many people ask that, is Buddhism a religion? Or is it a philosophy? Or is it a way of life? Now, first of all, what is your opinion about this? Is it a religion? Do you feel it is like a religion? Do you feel it is like a philosophy, or it is like more like a way of life? What do you think about it? Well, this is the thing. If I can give a simple answer for Buddhism, what Buddhism is, this is the answer. Buddhism is a profound teaching and a deep teaching that it is very difficult to put it into one basket, one category, saying this is a religion, this is a philosophy, this is a way of life. Why? Because let's say when you visit a Buddhist temple, if you had the chance to visit the Buddhist temple, you will see Buddha statues. People come and worship to the Buddha statues. They offer flowers and they offer so many offerings to the Buddha statues, and they worship and they do all sort of things. When you see that, you may start to think, oh, this is a religion, okay? In the same time, if you dive into the Buddhist teachings, core Buddhist teachings, and if you read some suttas, what will happen? You will come to an understanding that these teachings, what the Buddha has taught, is so profound and it is more philosophical. It dives into the deep topics in life, like existence and life and impermanence, a lot of things like that. Okay, then you may start to think, well, Buddhism is more philosophical. And in the other way, if you try to practice Buddhism, right? If you try to practice Buddhism by practicing virtues and practicing meditation, it becomes more of a way of life. Okay? So what exactly is Buddhism? How can we understand? Well, the one answer that I can give when you sum up all the Buddhist teachings, okay, the one answer that I can give is Buddhism is all about Four Noble Truths. The Buddha said, dukkha is the first noble truth. Life is based upon unsatisfactoriness. Okay? Then the samudaya is the second noble truth, and that is the unsatisfactoriness is based on, it origins because of the craving and the desires in our life. Okay? And the third is the nirodha. If you let go of the craving and the desires in your life, you will end up the unsatisfactoriness. And finally, the fourth noble truth is the magga, the path that leads to letting go of this unsatisfactoriness. Okay? Removing that unsatisfactoriness. And that is the Noble Eightfold Path. So this Four Noble Truth is all about Buddha's teachings. Okay? But when you see the Buddhist traditions and Buddhist rituals, you will see people are worshipping. Then it has a part of religion. Okay? People worship, but it is not in the way of a religion that people think it is a religion. Because the definition of the word religion is constant worshipping and believing into a supernatural and superhuman being or a god. In that sense, Buddhism is not a religion. It has more philosophical aspects, but it is not just a study of these concepts. You cannot just stop from studying about the impermanence and the existence and everything just as a study. You have to dive into these studies and you have to practice it. It runs beyond the studying. It goes to the practice, and you have to realize by yourself, through yourself, what the reality is. That is what Buddhism is. Okay? So if I said that what Buddhism is, the Buddhism is all about the Four Noble Truths. So that is the answer that I can give to a person who is asking this question, what is Buddhism? It is about the Four Noble Truths and the reality of this world. So keep this in your mind. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya. If there is one simple word that we all struggle to say, and that is no. N-O, no. Two simple letters, one simple word, but saying no can be the most hardest thing in life to do. Why we struggle to say no? The reason why we struggle to say no is because we have gotten used to say yes to many unimportant things in life. Okay? When we say yes to unimportant things in life, what happens to us? We miss the chance and we miss the time to say yes to the important things in life and to the things that really matters to us. Okay? And that is why we need to learn how to say no to unimportant things and how to say yes and how to be more focused on saying yes to the important things in life. Okay? So the reason why I'm doing this video is because a couple of days ago, I came across this word. When I was chanting, I came across this word in Karaniyametta Sutta. The Buddha says, Appakicho, do less. If you practice the Buddha's teachings, if you practice the spiritual path, or in any area of your life, you have to do less. Do not do more. Now, the society says the quite opposite thing to us. The society says that do more. The more you do, the more you achieve. Do many things as much as you can, then you will achieve. But turns out doing more will not help us to be more productive. Okay? To be more productive in what we are doing. To be more productive what really matters to in life. So that is why we have to master to say no to certain things in life and really be focused on what really matters to us. So from this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 tips that will help you to say no to unimportant things in life and to say yes and to be more focused on what really matters to you. Before learning how to say no to unimportant things in life, we have to understand why we say yes to unimportant things in life. The reason why we say yes to unimportant things is because of fear most of the time. Sometimes it is because of the fear of missing out. Sometimes it is the fear of letting someone down. Sometimes it is the fear of the only one to say no. Okay? Sometimes it is the fear of making the wrong decision. So that is why we say yes to unimportant things in life. And sometimes we say yes not only to the people, but also for the things in life. Okay? For an example, let's say you're studying. While you're studying, you have the mobile phone beside you. Okay? All of a sudden, you see a notification pops up on your phone. Now, you know that you're studying and you know that you have to be really focused on that. Okay? But you pick up the phone and you check what it is. Sometimes it is not necessary for you, but you check it and you say yes to that distraction. Let's say sometimes you plan to learn or to meditate in an evening. All of a sudden, you get a call from your friend and say that they ask for you to come with them to go shopping, maybe go to a party or to go to a walk. Because of fear of putting that person down or letting that someone down or to say no, we say yes to them. Okay? So when you say yes to them, sometimes we miss the chance and we miss that valuable time to be focused, to be more focused on what really matters to us. Okay? What really helps us to achieve our larger purpose in life. And that is why we have to learn how to say no correctly. So here are the few steps that you can help you to achieve that. The first step to saying no to unimportant things in life is to build a good self-awareness. Okay? You have to have a good understanding what really matters to you and why you say yes to certain things and why you say no to certain things. When you're aware of that, then you can easily say yes to important things in life and no to unimportant things in life. So before saying yes to something, just ask from yourself this question: why? Why am I saying yes to this? Okay, before saying yes to something or to a person, just figure out why you say yes to that person or why you say yes to that thing. Okay, before you say no to certain things, you have to figure out why you are saying no to certain things in life. For an example, let's say you need to check your mobile phone. Okay, your mind says to check your mobile phone. Before doing that, you have to ask from yourself, why? Why am I doing this? Why should I do this? When you ask from yourself that question, you become more aware of yourself. You become more aware of what you're doing. The Buddha says, before you do something or before you say something, just ask from yourself that, is it helpful for me? Is this thing that I'm going to do is helpful for me or helpful for others? Is it good for me? Is it good for others? When you ask from yourself that question, and if you come to the answer that, yes, this is really worthy of saying yes, this is really worthy of saying, this is really important to me, then do it. But if you come across the answer that, no, this doesn't really matters to me, okay, it is not important to my life, then by all means, do not do it, because it steals your time, the valuable time in your life. So the first step of saying no, learning how to say no to unimportant things in life, is to build a good self-awareness. The second step of learning to say no to unimportant things in life is to build a good self-discipline. And now this is the most hardest part, because it takes a lot of courage and grit to say no. And you need to be more disciplined to say no to unimportant things in life. Because sometimes the things that we say no, we have to say no to unimportant things in life, may be the most enjoyable things in life. Okay, let's say like we all like to enjoy in life, but sometimes those things that makes us enjoyable will not help us to be more productive. Okay, for an example, let's say you are going to study and you're planning to study, you're planning to meditate, but well, sometimes your friends ask you to come and join to a party. Okay, now you like to go to a party, but you know that the most important thing in your life is the learning process. That is what helps you to achieve more success. The most important thing in life is to build a good spiritual, a strong spiritual base in your life. So then it is very difficult to say no to those things, because we fancy of in doing all those things. Okay, so that is where we need the self-discipline, to be disciplined and to say no. This is what really matters to me, and I have to do it. Then you have to say no to those people politely. You can explain why you are saying no. Okay, I heard this one quote saying that, learn to say no to people without explaining yourself. I would say learn to say no to people and explain why you're saying no to them. Then they can understand why you're saying no. Okay, so then they will respect your time and your values in your life. So that is why we have to learn to say no politely and correctly. The third step is to understand that your time is valuable. Time is the most valuable asset that we have in our hand. Okay, and our time on this earth is really limited. You don't have an infinite time on this earth. We have a finite time, and we have to use that limited time very well. So I would suggest, look at your time like you look at your money. Okay, so when you get money, you don't spend that money lavishly or to whichever the thing that you want. You don't put that money wherever you are. No, we become more serious, and you become more serious about your money. Same like that. Think about your time as you think about your money. Okay? Because money can be earned again, but the time cannot be earned again. You cannot take back the time. It is limited. And that is why in this limited time, you have to do the best thing that you can do. Okay? Be more serious when it comes to time. Don't waste it. Okay? It is the most valuable asset that we have. If you value time, if you respect your time, then you can say no to unimportant things, and then you can learn to say yes to what really matters in your life. Okay? So respect your time and also respect other people's time as well. And the next step is to ask this magic question. The magic question is it really necessary? Before you say something, before you do something, before you say yes to someone or something, ask, is it really necessary? Do I really have to do it? Okay? Sometimes because we say yes to unimportant things in life is because we don't know that we don't really need it. For an example, let's say you came back home after a tired day, okay? And you say yes to social media. And you scroll through and it steals maybe 1 or 2 hours of your valuable time. In that time, there is someone that is valuable that you can do. Maybe to talk with your kids, maybe talk with your parents, maybe talk with your children. Then you can be more engaging with them and do something valuable with them. Instead of hanging out in social media and wasting that valuable time, just we can do something valuable. Before doing that, we have to ask, is it really necessary? Do I really have to do it? Then you can decide what to say no and what to say yes. Okay? So keep that in your mind. And the final step is to figure out what is really important to you, what really matters to you. Now, the most of the time, the reason why we say yes to unimportant things in life is because we haven't figured out what really matters in life. Okay, what really matters to us. So that is why if you have a good understanding what is the larger purpose of your life, what really matters to you, what is really valuable in your life, you can be more focused on that and say no to other things in life that really never helps you to achieve the larger purpose in your life. So I would suggest take a quiet time in your day to figure out what really matters to me today. What should I do, and what is the most important thing that I should do today to achieve the larger purpose of my life? In that way, you will have a good understanding what really matters in your life and the things that don't really matter in your life. And be more focused in doing those things. Sometimes it is more enjoyable doing unimportant things in life. But although it is enjoyable, although it is hard to say no to all those distractions, we have to say no to them because those are the things that prevents us engaging and achieving the larger purpose in our life. So finally, these are the tips that you can practice to say no to unimportant things and to say no to distractions in your life and to be more focused on what really matters. So finally, saying no can be really hard. I know it is really hard, but in order to achieve a happy life and a calmer life and a more disciplined life, we have to say no, and we have to learn to say no to unimportant things in life. So practice these little tips and then you'll be happy in your life. Namo Buddhaya.